here's my black canvas already. I've let it dry, but I've got an oval stuck on here, and make sure this is completely dry before you start painting. This is just sticky back plastic, and I'll peel that off later. My brushes for this painting are going to be a couple of 1-inch brushes, a fan brush, a filbert brush, and a liner brush, and of course, yes, a palette knife. I'm using Bob Ross landscape paints, and in particular I'm using Bob Ross liquid clear, and this is just to get the canvas nice and slick. And the two 1-inch brushes, one of them's slightly older and stiffer, and one of them's slightly newer, a bit more spring to it. And you want to have the older brush for the liquid clear because you're going to be scrubbing that on really well. So keep an old brush to hand, and just to make things easy, I put the liquid clear into a little plastic pot. Just take out a small amount. You don't need lots and lots on your brush, you'll just end up flooding the canvas. And I like to just sort of do one section at a time. I really scrub this in. Now carefully don't flick the edge of the little oval that we stuck on. They don't want to tear that off, so but really work this well, and I tend to brush in from the outside edge a bit more, and I can't emphasize this enough, but really scrub this on thin. I like to finish off with just going across the whole canvas, long, even brush strokes, and then, well, time to test the canvas. Now this I'm going to use my finger, and I don't want to see any speedboat trails, so slide your finger around and then have a look at the canvas. If you can see any telltale signs, then it's too wet. And I'm going to use this brush again, so I want to give it a good dry clean and really get that thumb, a good squeeze, pinch and pull. Really try and get all of that liquid clear out. Now that doesn't want to get in with your paint because it will just turn everything into a real slimy mess again, so clean dry your brush thoroughly. So using that same brush, I'm going to go straight into Alizarin Crimson. Now this is a transparent red colour, so when you put it on the canvas you may not see very much. You might get a little odd hint of red, but it's quite transparent and you need a good amount, so load plenty on the brush. Okay, so let's begin. Again, starting up in that left hand side, and well, yeah, it's pretty much invisible, so this is where you need to test your canvas regularly. So I'm going to do just this quarter, just blend this in really well, and again it's mixing with the liquid clear at the same time, so the paint will start to feel a little more liquid as you do this, and it's just liquid clear just helps you spread the paint. So let's test it. Let's take a fingerful from here, and let's take a little bit from down here, so 2 hatches. Well, at the top where I started, it's nice and red, nice cherry red colour, and that's really what we're looking for. Yeah, this one, well, there's more oil than paint, so that one's a bit iffy. So let's go back and test our canvas, put our fingers in different places now, see what we get. Lovely, cherry red all over, perfect. I didn't bother to wipe my brush, I just went straight into Phthalo blue, and this I'm going to be putting just around this left hand end, just around this corner piece here, and I'm going to blend that into the crimson that's on there. Now Phthalo blue and crimson make a lovely lavender colour, so I'm blending these colours on the canvas. Again, Phthalo blue is transparent and you can't see it, but we can test it with our fingertips. So there we go, a lovely lavender colour, and of course over there, crimson. Let's turn the lights on in our painting. I'm going to take some titanium white and a little Indian yellow. And mix them well. Adjust your colours and then take a little sample up to your painting. Always check your colour against your painting. As you can see, it's too pale. You look quite yellow, but I need to add more Indian yellow. There. That's going to be the horizon line, so just a little bit below halfway and just a little bit above centre here. And I've gone in my 1-inch brush. This is the soft clean 1-inch brush. I've put the other one away for the time being the dark one, and wow, look at that colour. As soon as that primrose colour hits that canvas, yeah, rhubarb and custard, my favourite. Avoid this end because that's where that lavender colour begins, so stay to the right and work your way out from the centre. And here we are. Let the colour fade out towards the edge, so the brightest area is in the centre. And now I'm going to go back in with my dry clean brush. Remember, the tips of the brush can be quite sharp, but the sides are soft. And I'm just going to gently blend this out, but so gentle. Just use the side bristles here just to move the paint a little bit. I want to make this lovely and soft, but I'm going to be adding clouds to this, so if you've got any areas that look a little bit less blended than others, don't worry too much. But occasionally you're going to pick up some colour, so stop every once in a while and give your brush a nice dry clean, especially when you're going over that left hand side if you pick up any of the lavender colour. Now, time for those clouds. I'm going to start with bright red and a little bit of titanium white, and again mix them well, just like we did with the primrose yellow colour. And you want to get a colour that's sort of comparable in strength, so compare the pink and yellow, they should be similar. I dry cleaned my brush, make sure you got most of that yellow off, and this is particularly important. Make sure you hold your brush with the Bob Ross logo facing up, because I'm going to be putting on the paint just on one side of the brush, and I'm just dabbing my brush into the paint. I'm just pressing the bristles in, getting a line of paint, and you'll see that little line building up on the palette just here. So you're just pushing the brush, give the brush a little push. Now, back to the painting. I'm going to keep my clouds up here in the darker part of the sky. I've got the brush handle facing down, so at a nice angle, so not too steep, just about 45 degrees, and just tap. And I'm just building up a little patch of paint. Now, trying to get this too stripy looking, I always try to make sure my clouds have a little bit of a jagged edge to it, so nicely broken up. And I'm going to avoid going over my real bright area at the centre here. I want to keep that looking bright so they're not all in competition. And just slowly build up the clouds. Reload occasionally until you get this nice design. I'm going to dry clean my brush, get all that paint off again. You see I snuck a few over on the purple side as well, just a little bit. And again, I'm using the side of my brush here where the bristles are soft. And this is so gentle, I barely touch the canvas. Bob would say 2 hairs and some air. And don't forget, stop and dry clean your brush occasionally, because you will be picking up paint. And if you want, you can pull some of these little points of paint, you can just pull them right across the canvas if you want and soften the whole effect down, but don't overdo it. It gets to be good fun, and next thing you know, well, your clouds have all disappeared. I've moved my pink over to one side, and I think I'll mix up some pale lavender clouds as well. So white, crimson, and a little touch of phthalo blue. Mix them well. So lay the 3 colours down, pick them up, turn them over, and keep on turning them over until you get the colour you're looking for. I'm still using that same 1-inch brush. You see a little bit of pink and yellow. So here we go. Just tuck these little lavender clouds in here and there between some of the pink clouds. And again, build them up slowly, stand back occasionally, have a look from the other side of the room, and then side of the brush, just blend them in gently. Well, I'm standing back and I'm not too keen with these ones bit too dark maybe. So I'm going to fix them on the canvas. I'm not going to scrape them off. I'm just going to go into straight crimson, and I'm actually going to blend them out on the canvas. So crimson over those slightly too blue clouds should turn them into a soft lavender colour. And I'll just play with them and see if I can tone them down a little bit. They were just a bit too blue. And just like that, you can change their colour. There's always a fix. If you get into a pickle, just stop and think how you could work over something or blend something before you start scraping things off. I'm happy with my sky, so I'm going to move on. I've moved some of that darker blue colour from the clouds over to one side, and so I'm just left with some blue, crimson and white, but I want to grey it down a little bit, so I take a little bit of the black colour. So I just want a purple colour with a bit more grey tone to it. A hard colour to describe, but again, take a little sample and offer it up to your canvas. That's it. So you're looking for a mid-grey colour, like a dove grey colour, a little bit of a purple hint. Like I said, a tricky colour to explain, but maybe it's a little on the dark side. I add a little bit more white to it. And now I'm going to use my fan brush, and I'm going to load this very well. Really, really, really groom this through your paint so that the bristles become completely stuck together. This is called a chiseled edge, and I can't stress it enough. Make sure you load your brush well, because I'm going to be doing some little tappy up and down fir trees, and they're going to fit in just here. I'm going to try and avoid taking over that light spot, so I want them just to tuck in under that. And what I like to do is put a few little markers on with the end of my brush, just put a little bit of a sort of a maximum size, so just a few short ones in here and maybe a few bigger ones over here. That way you can't run out of position, you can't suddenly paint them too big. And you want to get the handle nice and high. Let me get my hand out of the way. So nice and high, I've zoomed in a bit, and just tap and let the brush skid a little. And you're looking to make these lovely little pointy fir trees very far away on the back of the painting. And just tap and skid, tap and skid. And again, use those little markers that we put in, those little size markers, to keep yourself on track. You won't do any big ones or anything that's too small. And build these up. You'll probably go back over these a couple of times. Try and make them nice and irregular so they're not all the same size. You don't want it looking like a picket fence. And again, small ones here in the centre, maybe a little lighter, and some bigger ones here at the side again. There you go, I've zoomed in again for you. So you can see I'm just tapping with the top of that brush and just striking down, letting the brush skid a little bit. I'll be adding some more trees, but you can see here it's a little bit too thin in places, so I'm just going to go back in with that colour and fill in a few of these gaps. So we want a lovely dense sort of forest of trees. And again, I'm not going to go too high and swallow up my lovely light area, and that's a possibility. It happens occasionally, so just be aware of it. Don't let them creep up too high. Now I've gone back to my colour and I've added a little more black and a little more blue, so it's a little bit of a darker grey colour. I dry clean my fan brush and I've gone straight in again. So this is my second slightly darker bank of trees, and they sort of tuck in again between some of the lighter ones, and I don't want them to come any lower than that. So again, I've given myself a guide how tall and how low they should get. And again, just tuck these in and check your colours against what you've already done. If it's too dark, lighten it. If it's too light, darken it. But do a little bit and then stand back. You cannot tell what colour you've painted when you're only 6 inches from it, so you have to stand up and walk away from your painting just for a few moments. And I want a few of these trees to have a little more detail. I want them to look like they're proper limbs and branches on them, so I go back in and I put in a couple of taller ones here on the right. We might do a little bit more with those in a moment. And you see I'm just using the very corner of my fan brush. I tip my handle down. Now if you want to know more about painting fir trees, I have some videos on this subject as well. And I'll drop a couple of links in so you can go and have a quick look at those a bit later on. But there's a nice little technique to learn, but that's for another video. And I'm just going to take this down till I reach my horizon line. Finally, a little bit of snow. I dry cleaned my brush, the one that we've been using, with all the colours, pinks and yellows and the like for the clouds. I dry cleaned it, and again I'm tapping into some white paint. I don't mind if it gets a little bit of colour to it. This is going to be some snow, and that's catching the light from the sky. So I put a bit of yellow with it, that's it, warm it up a little bit. And again, I tap and push a little line. Bob Ross logo facing up, so the paint's always on that same side, constantly loading one side of the brush. And I'm going to go in just underneath this little ragged edge here. Just like clouds, the light comes through here. Just like the clouds, I'm going to tip my brush at 45 degrees. Yeah. And just touch gently. Build up a nice sort of texture on this snow. I won't be brushing this out. I want it to stay sort of gently, like a little gentle velvety texture. And once you've added that layer of snow into your painting, don't be tempted to go back over it too much. It'll just become muddy and mushy. And I work down in layers, and I trap little bits of dark here and there. I want it to look like it's got some dips and humps and bumps in the ground. Now, a little more sparkle here as I picked up the crimson. That's it, through that gap. So you're telling your eye where to look, from the background sky onto that snow. But I'm going to do something with these trees. I'm going to actually bring them from the background or the midground into the foreground a little bit more. So here's a little trick. Just make them a little longer or a little deeper, and then extend them down so they actually come forwards in the painting. You can do this with the tree anytime. Make it a little longer and drop it down a little bit lower. There we go. I might even do the same on the other side. And again, tuck in a little bit of snow, catch that little ragged edge. If you pick up a little of the colour from the tree, it'll make a nice little shadow colour on the snow, so there's no harm there. And again, build these up in layers, but don't be tempted to go back over previous layers to try and fix them. Keep on working down, save a little dark, and I like to finish this with a little bit of a downward curve at the corners. Now, some reflections, because this is water. I've loaded my brush with some of that lovely bright colour, and again, press and pull. Pull straight down. Reload, and overlap, and press and pull down. Now I want the colour to fade out a little bit. So I don't load more paint, I'm just going to let it fade out. Give your brush a bit of a dry clean, get some more of that lovely bright yellowy white colour, and press and pull. That's a lovely colour, isn't it? Bit of a speck of yellow in that. And pull straight down. I leave a little dark edge there between the snow and the reflection, a little shadow line. And then dry clean your brush really, really well. You want to get all the paint off that you can, because we're going to be brushing across. I want to make this look watery, and the idea here is you want to use just the side of the brush and lay it down flat, and you want to be pulling edge to centre. Always edge to centre. Never start in the middle and pull out, you'll leave a mark. So gently, so gently, just pull one direction, and then turn your brush around and pull edge to centre from the other direction. But don't overdo it. Just once is enough. If you go over it more, well, you run the risk of blending it all together. Join me for part 2 of this Bob Ross painting tutorial, Twilight Beauty. And in the meantime, like, subscribe and share. You can even buy me a coffee. Till next time, happy painting, people.